cocksuckers, and you better come prepared because they don't fuck around on Monday. Monday, most people come in, I had such a great weekend. Oh my God, go fuck yourself. That was then. This is now, bitch. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday. If you ain't waking up with a taste of blood in your fucking mouth like a shark 5 feet from the shore, you fucked up. You understand? Because Monday is when you go, everybody else is like, still the weekend, you fucking go.
Yo, 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 it's Monday. What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year. You know what? Hey, T, it's 2023.
Yo,
Two
time is
zero
flying, bro.
23. Just that fast. We
Time is
blinked.
flying.
We blinked from Y2K when we thought Y2K was, whatever. And bang, we in 23 years later. But with that having been said, Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you guys had an incredibly wonderful holiday season. I hope you had a beautiful, beautiful New Year. But bigger than that, we back, y'all. It's a new year, new things. Hope y'all set goals for yourself, resolutions, if you call them resolutions. I like to call them adjustments. But whatever it is you did, I hope you had that time to look over
Talk to
your
the
last
people, man.
year.
Talk to the people. I'll be right back.
I hope you had the opportunity to look over the last year. Think about some of the things that you did right, some of the things you did wrong, and just say to yourself, what things can I make super great adjustments on? And with those adjustments, how do I slide into what's to come for the new year? And when I say adjustments, because like I said, some of y'all will say resolutions. I made resolutions. Great. If that's what works for you and that allows you to be able to do what you need to do for the year, absolutely incredible. But if you're the type of person who, after a couple of days, resolutions kind of fall by the wayside, I say make adjustments, because adjustments are things that you can constantly do in order to continuously get to where you're trying to get to in terms of your greater goal, your greater good. I'm here to just tell y'all that I always take the end of the year, as I shared with y'all throughout the year, but I always take the end of the year to really take a good hard look at what things went right, what things went wrong, who I, could have had a better relationship, who I didn't have such a great relationship, see if those relationships require to continue to, feed into and to continue to manifest, or if they're dead issues and you need to let them go, because sometimes that is a part of the growth. That's a part of people not being able to ride the entire ride with you. And it's okay. I need you guys to understand that when people can't ride the entire ride with you, all that means is that they have served the part of the ride that they were supposed to serve. And that's okay. And as a matter of fact, whatever stop they got off, that's the stop that you can find them at every time you go on that train ride or that plane ride, at that same stop. So don't be, make yourself crazy, be like, oh my God, I can't believe that my friend. Look, everybody's not built for everybody. Once we kind of start to understand that, once you sort of put that in perspective for yourself, I think you will make your life so much easier. But I just, again, I can't stress enough. Enjoy. We're in a new year. I'm just happy to be here. I know this is another chance for us to do things incredibly well this year, and more so to help each other be incredibly great. But with that having been said, you see my man just came back in the screen.
Well, you see my hat.
I see it. I see it, sir.
2023, we here.
I see it. I see it. This is what we're doing. But how was the weekend, brother? How was the New Year's, the whole nine? How are you?
The weekend, my brother, was everything. The weekend was everything. Let me say that. Shout out to the good people of Baltimore, Maryland. Shout out to my cousin Ed Lover. Shout out to Ray Diva, comedian extraordinaire who hails from Baltimore. Scooter came by. Shout out to my man Desi Johnson from right here in Mount Vernon. Comedian in Alabama. Host duties was perfect. Amazing, brother. Amazing weekend. For those of you who don't know, the Comedy Factory is the #1 big comedy club in Baltimore, Maryland. And me and my cousin Ed Lover, we do this thing when we double headline. We do Cousins in Comedy. And we did a weekend over there. We were the headline of the weekend. We had 5 shows there, 1 Thursday, 2 Friday, 2 Saturday. Amir, I don't know what it is. I get a kick out of when I'm outside of New York and a lot of New Yorkers come out. It's something about that that's so special and so dope. Like, and there's one thing that New York in general is a whole nother thing with Mount Vernon. So my small ass town, I had about, through the course of the weekend, no bullshit, 30, 35 people just from Mount Vernon through the course of the week. Like, yo, people, I mean, some of them I ain't seen over 20 years. I'm like, yo. So it was
Nice.
in the essence, many essences. Merchandising got done at a major level. I was very happy with that. Was my man Rick. You know, Rick's been injured on injured reserve for a year.
Okay.
First weekend back out, full weekend working. I was grateful for that. And more importantly, me at Level, Eva, Alabama, 5 for 5, perfect pitching, no hit, grand slamming, whatever expression you want to call it, dunking on niggas' head, alley oop. We did it. So great weekend. And I say that to say this too. I say that to say, I thought about this on my train ride home because I got on an early morning ride Sunday. Took my little edible. I'm on that joint. So, you know, you space cadet. And, you know, now that you kind of used to the edibles and know when they're kicking and all that, now you kind of use them joints as thinking pills. You know, it's like taking a pill and just, what if God was a baby? You know, stupid shit like that. Anyway, I still like to say this. I know I'm going to have a great week because my weekend was dope. And that's the first thing I wanted to say on the show today is like, sometimes the weekend being everything and being dope for you is your catapult for the up and coming days of the week. Think about this, because most of us, because we move by the North American clock, if you will, an American time scheme, because we move under this and have since the inception of knowing things, right? We've always been accustomed to looking at the weekend as the end, because we always put it on the end, like. And I think that we got to change that a little bit, because I think that, you know why? When you break it down, Amir, that's the work of vision.
Yes.
That means they got you where they want you. When I say they, I mean whoever the hell you work for. You know what I mean? Whoever you busting your ass for, whether it be a corporation, your own thing, whatever, they got you in the scheme thinking, work. Oh, the weekend. That's a employee mentality. I'm gonna put you in the employer mentality. The employer mentality is to do these things that are great for you during your weekend, while everybody's kind of off and you don't have to do the regular morose shit. You do something different, something good for you, something spirit lifting, whatever. Now, if you got 3 days of that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, guess what? By the time you hit Monday, you feel great going into that week. And you use that to catapult all good things and good energy for the week. Now, am I crazy? Think about that, because we always think from one side of the brain. We think from Monday to Thursday. That's what we do. Thank God it's Friday, because they're trying to get away from that week instead of working and then bringing into your weekend. Say, man, my weekend, when I get away from this job part, I'm gonna do so many things and so make myself feel so good and be right for when Monday come around. You can't touch me. I feel great.
You know, it's so funny, man. It's so crazy because, to your point, you know, first off, the weekend was incredible. Had an absolutely phenomenal time. Shout out to my boys, Assorted Flavors, Big Stacy, and I think the Collins brothers. They did a black tie event out in Long Island City at the spot called the Melrose Place. Incredible. Everybody looking dapper. Ladies looking incredibly beautiful, gowns, the whole nine. So that was a really dope event Saturday night. But to your point, it's so funny because you're absolutely right. I took the tail end of last year, as I always do, and as I was sharing with everybody, to reassess what the year was like. And one of the things that I came up with, to your point, is the weekend or your days where you get to enjoy your life should be you should be able to insert them any place you want to insert them. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, wherever you want to insert days where you want to have fun and enjoy your life, that's what you should be working towards. And if you're not, and to Talent's point, because you have a worker's mentality, that's shame on you. Because most of us, or a good portion of us, are in and around an age and or a space where, quite as kept, you may or may not have that many more summers in front of you. It's no disrespect to anybody. The truth is the truth, and it hurts at times. But I say that to say this. You really have to take every moment and, like Talon said, enjoy it. New Year's just passed, guys. It's already the ninth day of the month. We just said Happy New Year's. We already 9 days in, just that fast. So it just goes to show you that time waits for no one. Time is relative. And more importantly, how you perceive your life and the steps and things that you take in order to make your life great are what you get in the final analysis. Like he said, he had a phenomenal weekend of doing something that he absolutely enjoyed and loved. So obviously, to come into the week, he has nothing but to come into the week with good vibes and good energy. So many of us, just to be honest, some of y'all are football moms, soccer moms, volleyball, band, whatever. So your Saturdays are usually regulated to that. Friday night, you tired from having worked the 9 to 5. And Sunday, to be fair, most of us are already somewhere around 1 o'clock. Like, damn it, man, I have to go back in here to this damn office tomorrow. Now, some of y'all may or may not say that, but there's a good portion of us who do, and it is what it is. But I'm sharing that with you because you have to change that energy. You have to change your mind frame and your mindset when it comes to that, because if you don't, then you're right, it becomes a drag to go in there. You're already in a headspace that's not conducive. So any part of your travel could turn into something crazy and all these other things. Meanwhile, if you already are in a great headspace, you go skipping into work like, so what we doing today? What y'all got on the docket? Because my weekend was phenomenal. I'm good money.
And it's simple reprogramming. It's simple reprogramming. Yes. And I'll be honest with you, like it took me a long time to see this. It's not something I always knew, even myself. I didn't even realize until I stepped out of it. And 20, 30 years of doing your own thing and being your own boss and making your own schedule and approving this and disapproving of that and moving a certain way, you start to look at, now you inadvertently doing something different, right? And running your own show. So you start to look from the outside now to everybody else doing what you used to do, and you go, oh, damn, I don't like that. But you don't realize you did when you worked for Joe Schmo or such and such company. Negro, you move just like they moving now. Why? Because that's the process and movement. The minute you start doing your own, it's a different ballgame. Here, I'm gonna tell you the first thing. This I show you the difference. First thing that when you start your own business, first thing that kind of jumps off the page to you visually is you're gonna notice at first nobody is working up to the par the way you approve. Hear me out. Hear me out. When you start to hire people and have people employ you, you're not gonna approve of none of that shit at first. Everybody's gonna be inadequate, beneath how you would do it, blah, 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 blah. All the shit you're going to come up to tell yourself. And I think it's not true, but it's a bit excessive because now, whatever your product is and whatever your business is, you need to understand. You get to the point where you need help and you're hiring people and they're helping you out, working for you. You need to totally understand it's unfair to put on these people that work for you to move like you. That's unfair, or to expect them to move with the tenacity or at the same level of go-gettership. It's not going to happen. Why? Because whatever this thing is, this is your baby. No one's going to love and promote and market your baby like you do. You got to understand that. I know it sounds crazy. You have to be there to understand what I'm saying, because we had to do that year in and year out, no matter what the project is or what we're doing. So I say that to say you got to go easy when it's your thing and you're bringing people on to your vision or your baby. To expect them to be exactly on your level of playing field is totally unfair. Can't do that. Can't do that, because now they're even though it's your thing and it's a new thing, they're coming on your thing as a worker bee. So they're going to move with worker bee mentality. You coming from entrepreneur mentality, they're not going to match up. So
different mentality.
This is why, what this in studying business, this is where departments came in at. This is where business and corporations learn to compartmentalize things, make them compartments and departments, and then give people titles instead of departments. This is where this comes from. Because what they did was they looked at the workers, they looked at the things the job needed, they separated those things. We need these 6 things. Okay, so we got these 6 departments. And then they maximized what each person was good at. You're going to be good at everything because it's your baby. You know what it is. But collectively, no one person is going to be or where you are. So, okay, well, Mike and them is good at the numbers. They save me a lot of money. They be crunching numbers. They keep me from going broke. Okay, that's accounting. You know what I'm saying? Tim and them, man, I don't know what to do with him. He won't shut his damn mouth up. Every time he talks, blah, 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 blah. There's marketing and advertising. He gonna talk you up everywhere you go. You know what I mean? So when it's your thing, once you get to that point, then you start to delegate duties and put people in departments, and however you see fit, because you're knowing these people and you're judging the character of what they can and cannot do, what they're good and not good at, and that's how you have a viable business going forward. So just wanted to put the bug out there, people. Like I said, reverse your mentality from a worker bee to the queen bee. You know what I mean? You got to be the queen or the king and look from the top down, not from the down to the top. This guy's always going to be a worker bee. This has got the, aspiring, trying to blah, blah, blah. Looking down, I already know what it is. We just got to put it into action. All right. So the weekend can be the front instead of the back. If you're working for somebody and you're scratching and clawing and just punching the clock and what effect, no disrespect to you guys out there. Everybody knows what's good for them. Do what you got to do, but understand the movement and understand what begets what it begets. You know what I mean? Because we move a certain way, we don't even realize. It's just we just been conditioned and go through the circles, and we keep doing. Like I said, it wasn't until 30 years ago when I stepped back out of that and said, time to do this and put my focus in. Every time I look back, I still got my buddies and family and friends over there. So every time I go to deal, now you start to notice, like, man, you know what I mean? Like I just had to tell a friend, close friend, to quit their job. I ain't tell them go quit your job. I gave them my opinion. They end up acting on it. But it was one of those things where you have principles, everything. And the place in which you reside, the place in which you dwell, and the place which you work, all places will come into fruition and show you how they feel about you. And how they feel about you and treat you, you got to make a decision. How many times you hear people be like, I don't like the way these niggas move, and you kick it with somebody else. I'm not kicking with them no more. They grew up, we was cool back in '88, but now these niggas want to rob banks. I'm too past that. All right, so that's the moral of the story is, the moral is we want you guys to take a look at your thinking, your everyday, weekly thinking, and see which angle you're thinking. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, what you're doing right or wrong, whatever. I just threw this out there, splattered on the wall for you to look. Are you moving like the worker bee, or are you queen bee? That's on you guys to work it out and figure out what the hell is going on. Anyway, top topic of the day. Don't forget, coming up soon, Amir's going to drop the jewel of the day. And we have a segment I'm going to call, have you ever thought about this? And I know people ain't thought about this, but anyway, I thought about this, and I'll tell you why I got to it when we get to it. But right now, let's break down money, love, and depression.
Yes.
So let's start with money. Now, I don't know how you feel about money, but I'm going to put it out how I feel about it. I think I was blessed to care a lot less about money than the average person. When I say that, I don't want people to say like I'm fucking burning dollars out in the garbage can in the driveway, or fucking at the strip club and making it rain continuously with a tsunami. No, I don't mean it like that. What I mean is, and I understand economics. I understand as an adult what it takes to do certain things, right? So in that aspect, I do, as an adult, respect money. I go out there, I get it. I pay the bills need to be paid. I hope every corner in my life that I can help with the money. Obviously, I love my dogs, so I get dog food. I get they shots, treats, leashes, collars, doggy beds, like shit I need for them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you buy the necessities you need. You pay the bills you need. You do all these things that you got to do. That's the respect I have for money. However, I consider myself a little abnormal when it comes to money because most of the people that I know, their concentration on money is way different and way more extensive and way more serious. Like I see people lose their ever loving fucking common sense and mind over money. You know what I mean? But that's never been me. Like I only need it to do whatever. So I'm not even thinking about it until that shit come around. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh shit, today's the whatever. I gotta pay rent. That's why I think of money. Or if Amir, if you call me and say, hey, let's go, blah, 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 and I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, it's $50 ticket. Everybody getting a ticket. That's when I might think about money. Like, but in general, I'm not that dude out there. Like I could tell you, ever since the slang went to get the bag, I can count on one hand how many times I never said shit. Get the bag. Like, but that's people that care about money. They can't wait to say the slang. Yeah, got the Skrilla, got my Skrilla. Get that bag, baby. All that money slang shit. I was never like in it because I never put the emphasis on the money. How do you feel about
Mm-hmm.
money?
What's so funny is it's great that you brought this topic up because, like I said, just before we got on the air, Prophet, Pete and I was talking about it, and I was saying to him, I said, I'm one of those people. I'm sort of like you. I never put that much emphasis on money for a number of reasons. Thankfully, you and I both have been in situations where not only, have we made decent amount of money, throughout our careers, but we've been around people with money. And one of the things that I've come to learn about people who seemingly really have money is they don't care about it. And when I say they don't care about it, I mean in the sense of it's not their mental focus all day, every day. What they do, to your point, is all right, I need to make sure there's enough resources in the tank so that, like you said, the major things can be taken care of. And if there's room to have some playtime, I got some things there left in the tank for that. So many of us have been duped into believing that money is the end all, the be all, or money is evil, and so many other odd, sayings that have come up over the course of our lives. When the reality of it all is, money is just one format in this world that allows you to do specific things. That's all it is. And a large portion of that, which is really interesting, is it happens to be something that we have to deal with only because a long time ago, at some point, somebody decided that trading beans for a donkey or trading this for that didn't make much more sense. So now they added a different value system to how we talk to each other, how we share with one another. And it amazes me that we have people in this world, in some cases, who are extremely selfish and need to have every dollar that you can think of. And you start thinking to yourself, like, why? If you moving around the world like you have and like I have, you start seeing the number of homeless people, and it doesn't make a difference where you go in the world, what state, what country you go to, there's homeless people. And then you got people in the world who, for lack of a better word, have $23 billion. And you think it to
Right.
yourself, do you really need $23 billion? Like, and again, I'm not counting anybody's money. I'm not saying that people shouldn't have what they want to have. What I'm saying is, how much better could you be as a person if you took some of those resources, reinvested them one back into the community, but more so helped out some people who you seemingly know don't have that same drive, maybe don't have the same, understanding of resources as you do. And it's okay. We are so, we've become such a selfish minded group overall. And then you take the number of people who you and I both know, like I said, collectively and singularly, who seem to have it all. Twitch comes to mind, most recent with the situation that happened with him. But you got a Robin, what's the other comedian, a white comedian, from Mork and
Robin
Mindy,
Williams?
Robin Williams.
Mhm.
Other names come to mind, other people come to mind, and you start thinking to yourself like, oh my God, the amount of people who have seemingly had all that the world has to offer and still weren't happy. That's not a money thing. That's an inside job of people who may or may not be taking solace in themselves. But like I said, to get back to what you asked me, I think that it's great to have resources, but I think the most important thing about having resources is, like you said, your ability to, one, take care of yourself, and then hopefully be able to help take care of others. Because that's really what we're here for. After you get past that, what else y'all got? You can't take
But
it with you.
well, let me ask you this: Do you think? And I'm just playing devil's advocate real quick
Mhm.
because this could be a possibility. Do you think that because you brought up like billionaires and rich people who may not use their money to help other people or whatever the case may be, it may be a possibility that the people who are handed down money, right, who inherit money, whatever the case may be, and so you grew up rich, you grew up in a certain type of environment, whatever. Could it be you have zero empathy for the people who you could be helping because you haven't been around that. You haven't really lived around it or seen poverty up hand, close and personal. The most you've seen was getting out of a limo and some guy was sleeping in the corner or whatever. Like, to me, that's a different brush with
Yes.
the needy than it is growing up in a community, seeing it 24/7, minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day, week to week. That when you get to a position or get a few dollars in your hand, this how much of a giving people we are. We don't wait till we rich to give.
Yeah.
That's how much giving people black people are. Black people will grow up poor as fuck and will walk down the street, fast forward as a 30, 35-year-old man or female, and see somebody in need and give their last 5, 10, 20 bucks because they see a situation. Now, they don't have a billion to give. And quiet is kept, to be real talk. They could have used that 20 they gave away or that 5 or whatever the case may be. But because they're more empathetic to it, because of the way they might have been brought up or grew up, they're quicker and more prone to do it, as opposed to that guy that's never been around it like that. And yeah, he heard about it, he read about it, but it don't touch him the
The
same.
same way.
Do you
You
believe
know,
that could
so
be a possibility, though? I mean, without malice, you know what I mean?
no, I do. You know, it's so funny that you say that. So one of my boys I just spoke to yesterday, as a matter of fact, he was telling me a funny story. He lives up in Riverdale. So the building he lives in, his father used to live in the building. His father passed away, so he inherited the co-op or whatever the case may be. But he said his neighbors are predominantly white. So he said, I don't, I talk to them, but they don't really know me. And he's been driving Uber to, keep up, his rent and everything. So he's got one young lady in the building. She likes him. And, she's like, I don't understand why you driving Uber so much, this, that, the third. So he asked her, he said, you want to come along with me, for the night, see what I do. He said, Amir, we was pulling up Webster Projects, this, that, the third. He said the girl was in the car. People live here? Yes. See, all you know is Riverdale, so you don't know that there are people who live in Webster Project. There's people who live in some of the other projects throughout the Bronx and all that stuff. And he wasn't doing it to be mean or facetious. To your point, he was trying to let us see that she's grown up with a certain perception of the world. And so many people, to that point, grow up with those perceptions. So you think to yourself that these people don't exist, fortunately or unfortunately, until you're presented with them. And then it's like, oh my God, they really exist. Yes. There were pockets of it, there are groups of us who have learned how to stretch a dollar. There are pockets and groups of us who have learned how to, eat food, or eat specific foods. Not because that's what we're trying to do. We've learned to eat those specific foods because, in all fairness, that's what we had technically from the fact that those were our resources provided for us. And I always smile and laugh about a good portion of it because I realize to that point, that again is what we're up against. We're up against people's perceptions versus what their realities are. I'm sitting in the Marriott Hotel out by LaGuardia Airport right now. Every 2 weeks when we have our meetings out here, I take the train from Long Island City over here. Now, if you've ever been on the 7 train from Long Island City all the way to the tip where Aldo lives, first of all, that's more Mexican people than you'll ever see in Mexico, Ecuador, Brazil. I promise you, you ain't never seen that many Latino people. But with that having been said, like I get on that train every time and I just think to myself, T, because you might find this, again, you travel around a lot. when you look at a lot of the restaurants that we go to, y'all look in the back, the cooks aren't people of color. The cooks aren't people who, are Caucasian. The cooks back there are usually people of Latino descent at your pizza shops. Hell, even at some of your Chinese restaurants, you got Pedro giving you your pork fried rice or whatever. And that's no knock to anybody. What that tells me is these are people who are willing to step outside of their comfort zone and say, hey, for the betterment of myself, for the betterment of my family, I will take on these sorts of jobs or take on these kinds of responsibilities to do what I need to do for my family. That makes you a different kind of person. And to your point, into what Motivational Monday is, that's motivation. Because some of us hate these kinds of situations, and we wouldn't take these jobs even if they was giving them away. Nah, son, I work at such and such, or be a short order cook. Wait a minute,
Right.
dude, you're sitting at home watching TV. They don't pay you for that either. I don't see you getting upset about that. Your rent's due, your lights are almost off, but you're too proud to take a job where you might have to learn a new skill set and the possibility of cooking. Really? But it just goes to show you, to your point of mentality, it goes to show you to your point of motivation and where people are and how they see the world sometimes. So you're absolutely right. Money is an interesting tool that, just depending on what your perspective is how you treat it and what you do with it. And I saw in the comments some of our wonderful people who tune in. I think it was either Trina or Alfreda. Financial literacy. We are not a community in general who has a great command of financial literacy. Are there pockets of us? Yes. Are there some of us? Yes. But on a grander scale, that is not something that we are too familiar with. And to your point, and it's usually because we're probably the most giving people on the planet.
Right.
I don't care what y'all say. And if you go around the world, I've always thought about this, because even if you go around the world and you think about the world wars that have happened, all the stories that I hear is of the African American soldiers going over to these places and deciding that they wasn't going to fight with these people. They're like, look, I'm over here, I'm going to mind my business till this thing is over. I'm going to get back on the boat or get back on whatever planes we getting up out of here. And that's going to be that. So that's an interesting dynamic for us. You know what I mean?
Oh, no question. I mean, I definitely know what you mean on that. So I bring that up because here's the thing. People look at money, and money can clash with love. So if you see my sheet, like when I work on the shows prep and everything, I have the 3 money signs, number 1 next to it. The plus sign, like an equation, like a math equation.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I got love. I got the heart for love, number 2. Then I got the equal sign. And the equal sign, really, it's up in the air. So it could equal depression. It could equal stress. You know what I mean? And in the beginning, a lot of times it equals happiness. But we're talking about grown folks with a little longevity in their relationships or whatever, for lack of a better, whatever you want to call it. So love and money sometimes get together. They mix up, and it's a bad thing.
Yes.
Because people feel like love is one thing in the beginning, and then out of nowhere, you see some relationships with some people, money becomes a big problem. Usually 9 times out of 10, when money's a problem, is either somebody ain't making it some, or somebody making more than somebody, you know what I mean? Or somebody's just not putting it to you, so to speak. So like you could be in a relationship and somebody's like, could you do whatever, and you don't do it, or you don't come forth with the money to do it, or whatever case may be, that's a problem. And next thing you know, you're laying down, you're in the bed, this becomes what we call pillow fighting, pillow talking, whatever. And now this couple has animosity because of the case may be. Now, it's 2 different things I see here. I see the people that don't do something for whatever reason. Maybe they don't want to do it, maybe they haven't agreed on it, whatever. But the real depression part, I think, comes into play with the people who are not well off, right? So they're not well off, which in turn they can't do. For this person, and God forbid it be a man, because of the whole stereotype and the whole, provider, the whole stigma that's been on us since the beginning of time, that you're the guy, you got to take care of it, and blah, 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 right? So, God forbid it's a guy who is not coming in like that for him, and he can't do a few things or two that his other half wants. And then guess what? No matter what excuse he's given to or whatever, if this is a real guy that wants to and he's not capable or able, you best believe stress. The first thing is stress. Too much of that, he's falling into depression.
Yeah.
Whether he hides it from you or not is a whole nother thing, but he's fallen into some sort of level of depression because, yeah, we've all been raised like that. The same way she's been raised to expect to have it and see it and feel it, you've been raised to kind of do it. So when you can't do what you think you're raised to do, you have these moments where you can come off and feel less than a man. I know for a fact a lot of my friends. I've been there with guys. I tell people all the time. They say, "Why you ain't married?" I said, "Nigga, because I'm the couch nigga. My couch has been used for multiple years. Of every dude I know that got married, that hit a rock or in the road or bump in the road, be somewhere, can't stay home, get your ass out for a few nights, or you better find somewhere." Well, I'm that nigga with the couch.
Yeah.
So after decades of that shit, I wish I would. But I understand these plights. I understand listening to their sides, and then half of them, the ones that were childhood friends. Here's the catch. Here's the kicker. The ones that I go back to my childhood or adolescence, 9 times out of 10, I know the female too. So because I know what women are thinking. Oh, that's his side. Nope, I get both sides.
Yeah.
And because I'm friends of both of them, I have to stand in the neutral zone and just take it all in and give an objective thought of what my thing is to what happened. You said it this way, you said it that way. Either way, I'm going to have, if you're coming to me, I'm going to give you what I think and who's in the right or wrong, or maybe nobody's in the right or wrong. You're just missing each other. Sometimes you're just missing each other. But get me not. I'm a math motherfucking major, and numbers never lie. When I sit down and love plus money, shit, sometimes that equals depression, bro.
Yeah. No, you know, it's so funny. You're absolutely right. I think, to your point, and you made very strong and valid points. Like you said, sometimes one makes more than the other. But I think there's also this caveat that sometimes we don't factor in. And that's yes, one makes more than the other, but one sometimes has spending habits. You got champagne dreams and wishes, but you got Budweiser and Colt 45 money. See, sometimes you got to be honest with yourself. And I think just to add to that, where relationships are concerned, that's a big thing as well. I get it. You want this type of man or woman, and they should have this in their life, and they should be set in these ways or whatever. And sometimes people go for these lofty, ideologies and these lofty deals, and you're not there yourself. So I want you to think about this. You want to attract this, but you're not even there. Energy attracts energy. Talent and I can't say that anymore or any less often than we do. We always say that to you. Energy attracts energy. So if you are trying to be big this, big that, then the chances are you can attract big this, big that. But you have to be that first. You can't be wishing to get there once you catch up to somebody who's already there, because trailing is always going to be trailing. Doesn't matter who you are. But if you come into the situation with your stuff in order, you come into the situation with your game plan, you come into the situation knowing what you know and doing the things that you need to do, all the other things will align themselves. Too many of us just don't understand that simple concept. And I think that, to your point about the depression, really the biggest, point with that is just us being unfair to one another, to something that you said earlier about expecting a lot of times for our significant others to be us or to be like us. You don't move the same way I move. I know I don't, because you and I aren't twins. And even if we was twins, we'd still have some slight difference, because that's just the way God designed it. But the fact that I hear that so often now, and especially now at this stage of our lives, and to your point, talking to my male friends, talking to my female friends, I mean, you're not gonna believe what he did. And then I'd be like, I listen to the whole story and I go, okay, now I want you to say that whole thing over again, and I want you to factor in the stuff that you did. And then people start going, oh, I didn't look at it from that. I didn't think about that. And it's hard for us to, sometimes factor in the things that we miss based off of our own actions, based off of the fact that we are putting lofty expectations on people and on things that, like I said, we don't even have for ourselves. You can't be looking for a 7-figure dude and you making $32,000 a year. It don't add up. It's not a knock to you. It's just the truth. And vice versa. Dude, yo, son, she got to have, this, that, the third. My nigga, you sweep floors in the barber shop. How? When? Look, where we going with this, bro? I'm confused. My nigga.
I'm confused. I mean, see, I think, here's the thing. Here's a question. You answer me this, and then while you answer, I'm going to think. Does money change love, or does love change money?
It's so funny. I think what happens is people change with the idea of money. I don't think it changes love. I think it's people's idea to change for once money is involved. And I only say that because of this. As they have said, and as you and I have seen, I'm sure you've witnessed this, money only technically brings out more of who somebody sometimes is from the onslaught. Like, and I've watched it time and time again. You got people who are, calm, cool, collected. That's just who they are. They smooth, they reserved, and they don't change. Money just doesn't. Now they just are smoother and calmer and more collected. But then you got people who are bona fide B-holes, bona fide A-holes, or whatever the case may be, and they get money, and you watch them, and you be like, yo, I never realized how rude, how messed up an individual you was until now, because you talk to people recklessly, you treat people recklessly, and you always be trying to figure out, yo, people don't like me. No, it's not that they don't like you. You're a fucking idiot. And nobody likes idiots. It doesn't make a difference what walk of life we in. That's just how people move. That's how people think, because they have to process that. I don't know about you, T, but especially the older that we get, I just realized peace is everything to me now. I saw our good friend and buddy, Red Alert, put up a meme similar to that today, some along the lines of peace is, and that's what it is to me now. I'd much rather have peace over anything else that y'all could think of, because my peace is everything to me. It is everything.
I just said that earlier, bro. I said that earlier. I don't know where. Go ahead.
So I just think that, to your point, I think that people change for money because they think that now that they have it, that gives them carte blanche in certain ways to be and act certain ways, which I think is sad, because I think, in all fairness, you're just supposed to be a good human being, because to me, that's what our purpose is here. Yes, there are deeper purposes or specific things that, we're assigned to, whether it be helping people, whether it be helping children, whatever the case may be. But I think on the bigger, more grander scale, our genuine purpose here as human beings is to help each other. And as long as people, to me, keep that in perspective, everything else kind of stays in place. I think the problem is too many of us try to get out of that space, and we start thinking to ourselves like, you know what, I'm gonna prove this and I'm gonna prove that. And I don't know why people think that. I saw a funny video today. I didn't send it to you, and I will if I still have it. But I saw a funny video today with this gentleman, and it was like a remix video where he was saying, in all fairness, he said he never understands why people say, they're gonna get revenge on somebody. He said, this is what you need to know. He said, every time you do something in this world, whether it's good or it's bad, you bought into what is going to come your way. He said, that's what people don't realize. So if you're an idiot, or if you're somebody who does people dirty and this and that and the third, you're paying into that bank.
Yep.
Your cash out is coming one way or another.
Bank of Commerce is always open.
Yeah, it's coming. But too many people are under the impression that no, I got a specific. I always tell people because I said I'm never going after anybody one day in my life, not one time. I've just always sat back and be like, okay, this is going to get plenty for you, but when it does, I'm I'm gonna sit there and look at it and feel bad for you, but I'm gonna know that you know that it was coming for you because you know what you did. People, I don't know how this happened to me. You sure about that?
Let that be a lesson to everybody out there. First of all, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Motivation Monday once again. Let that be a lesson to you, man. We were just talking about relationships and staying motivated because money can derail you, love can derail you, and you add them up, that could equals. It's gonna go right that highway. You got that on ramp from Stress Parkway,
Yeah,
dumping your ass right on depression freeway
yeah.
north. So be
Facts.
careful out there. Think about that though, because that's a good question. Does money fuck up love or love fuck up money? I think it could go both ways. It's a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on who's the party in a relationship. Is it love starting trouble or is it money starting trouble? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's how you get to the end result. So when you see people and they look a little stressed out or a little depressed and with their significant other, work on eggshells, but check on your people. Like Amir always say, check on your people. You just don't know. Now, I'm gonna segue to this depression thing. Then we'll hit the jewel of the day, and then we'll wrap it up. But speaking of depression, and this epiphany came to me last week, and I was playing. I said, "This is the part of the show. Did you ever think?" A lot of people like to look at us ourselves, human beings, and we like to buy into the theory, the humanistic theory of human beings is that we're the top species of all species on this planet, and we run shit, and everything's below us. Okay, you're still an animal though. You're still a product of your universe and nature. All that shit affects all of us. So I don't want to hear
Mm-hmm.
shit. You got arthritis when it get cold out. That's about right, motherfucker. They found out that the fucking weather affects, your arthritis, the change of weather. You got an old injury. Why do you think old athletes, motherfuckers, start feeling all those little injuries when it's snow, rain, or some shit like that? Because that lets you know that we are animals and we are in sync, like all the other animals, with motherfucking with the bullshit, with nature. So that being said, is global warming affecting things like that, like depression? Because I'm thinking like this, bro. For the last few years, more than a few, I'm just not being kind, but for the last clump of years, we've been living as far as we know in our lifetime, an inaccurate sense of the world. Like global warming's been doing some real freaky shit, and things are all over the place because of it. So everything that flows in nature, because of, let's say, the four seasons and the times of year, are all out of whack. Now, this came to me last week. We hit 60 something degrees in January for several days, right? So I'm in here, Amir, and bad enough, it's a lot of work taking care of a lot of dogs. Bad enough, you got to watch your dogs and blah, blah, blah. But after a bunch of years, you get everything in here. You know the flow. It ain't no different than your kids. When your kids are out from school, when they're in school, we're trying to get home from school, all that shit. Same thing with the dog. You set your clock to it. So I'm sitting in there and the dog start acting strange, meaning nothing crazy, not like they attack me like that. But my male, he's very, like, every now and then he could be vocal and boisterous or whatever. But he's very vocal, like over barking, right? And I'm like, the fuck wrong with him? The female's moving a little funny too. And I'm like, what's going on? And I watched him for about hours, and I'm watching them. As I'm watching them, I'm slowly watching these motherfuckers going into heat, like they're back in the heating season, like it's May.
Mm.
And I'm sitting there like, oh, you motherfuckers in heat. Like slowly figuring, I'm like, oh, what the fuck, right? And now it's hitting me like, dude, it's fucking warm in the house. I'm cracking windows. I'm opening the terrace door, and just trying to keep the shit
Get the
where I like.
balance.
And I wonder why my shit's so high, because I ain't got it up that high. But if it's warm outside and you got heat inside, we already know what happens. So I'm like, oh, this fucking global warming shit, it's real, because this shit went on for several days. So I get to thinking about that shit when I'm writing the show for the relationships, all those different things. I'm like, you know what? Absolutely, I think if we're part of the universe and we're animals too, just another species, if it affects all these species on Earth, the climate, you know what I mean? The change of the climate, the being wrong. Absolutely. Why wouldn't it affect people's equilibrium? Why wouldn't it affect their mood swings? Me myself, I think I'm seeing this is what I think I'm seeing in the last decade. I'm seeing a lot of motherfucking men hit their midlife crisis earlier. I'm seeing a lot more early onset of menopause.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? With women. So if that's, I don't know if you believe in that or not, but if that to be true, that's something that people need to start breaking down and figuring out. That if global warming and the weather and the climate and all these different things that are changing that people have always been used to, absolutely it should have some ties to being depressed.
You know what? Again, another great point that you bring up. I think what's happening to you, again, to that whole ideology, full moons, and so forth and so on. Like you said, if you look at nature just in general and you watch when specific things happen, a rainstorm is coming. If you notice animals scatter, they start to find, shelter somewhere, things like that. Like you said, we're no different because we are animals
Right.
on a grander scale. The problem is, in theory, though, we have gotten away from our ability to use our senses. God didn't bless us with senses for no reason, meaning your smell, your touch, your vision, and all of these, the various things that we have at our disposal, our sight, all these different, things that we utilize. We've gotten away from them because, to the point that you're making and to the point of this conversation, we don't critically think anymore. So many of us are, forget that every time they say there's a full moon, there was, two kind of phases you go through on full moons. Either you're up, happy, and kind of like okay, or you're down and like, oh damn, it's full moon. I feel off. My energy is not quite where I need it to be. But that's because everything in the universe is energy driven and based off of energy. Everything, mood swings, like you said, the weather, all of these things. And to be fair, I think two things are going on with our weather and how, like you said, it's affecting the body. Because the climate change has had such a unprecedented effect on us now at this later stages of our lives, it does wreak havoc. Because like you said, we for a very long time, we were used to 4 seasons here in New York, without a doubt. We had winter, spring, and fall, unequivocally. You knew when they were coming, they came. You dressed appropriately, you dressed accordingly. But like you said, to your point, yeah, 60, weather 65 days. A couple of weeks before that, or like a week before that, you had a couple of days where it was 5, 7 degrees. Now, you and I had a whole, thing where I joked about that. I told you anything that's under number 10 always is hysterically funny to me. So when I see stuff like that, it's going to be 7 degrees. Why? What? Who authorized it to be that cold? Under what circumstances? Like, why is that even a number? Like, if it can't be 15, 20, so on, like, what are we talking about? This should never be a moment where we go, it's 3 degrees. What is 3 degrees? Like, who authorized that and why? So, but I say that to say, to your point, you're absolutely right. This global warming thing has had a very ongoing effect on us all, in and including, like you said, our behavioral patterns, and especially depression. Because I remember getting back from Vegas last week. I came in on a red eye on Wednesday. I think if you remember last week, Wednesday to Friday, it was gloomy here. All 3 days it was gloomy, and it was just gloomy. It wasn't raining. It was just gloomy. And every day I was going into work, and I kept on saying, "Are we in Seattle? Because it ain't supposed to be this damn gloomy." Like, I'm confused. Like, I get 1 or 2 days, but 3 days back to back. Like, what are we doing? And I realized that again, it's a mind frame and a mindset. So because you have people who love rainy days or who love days when the weather is cold or whatever, and then you got some people who have really programmed themselves to be like, I hate this. I hate when it's raining. Hate when it's cold out. Whatever the case may be. But that's because we don't really know how to embrace all of these various natural occurrences and put them in their proper perspective. As I go
Right.
around, especially once the cold weather's here, I just think to myself, this is the tree's chance to reset itself. That's why you don't got any leaves. The tree is resetting itself, taking up all the nutrients and everything out of the earth. It's having the opportunity to reformulate itself. It's taking in all the pollution and this, that, and the third. It's closed off so that it doesn't have to deal with that. Usually in the spring when we start to see the buds, we're like, okay, it's time for the leaves to sprout. It's time for us to be able to have air that allows us to be in a space where we can appreciate that. So to me, that's what we seemingly are up against, and it's amazing that, to your point, we don't put those things in those perspectives. We just usually look at things, even when it rains. You can hate the rain all you want, but the rain does two things: it cleans the streets and it waters the plants. All plants, the ones in the parks, the trees in your neighborhood, the trees in the regular natural parks and all that stuff. So we need it because none of y'all are out there with a water pot big enough to, water these damn trees. So you got to have some rain. You know what I'm saying? All of these things are relative. We just don't look at them in the spaces that we need to look at them because we've been taught to believe that it's always somebody else's thing to take care of. Instead of realizing it's God, that's God's way of making sure things get taken care of.
I like the way you said we used to have 4 seasons. Like I think we down to 3 now, and on our way to 2. Like I think we got winter, summer, sprawl. Cause right, sprawl is spring and fall is damn near the same shit now.
Yes.
So you got sprawl. Put them 2 together because you ain't get no full spring and you ain't get no full fall. You got sprawl. And you'll get some winter and you'll get some summer, but that's about it.
Yo, that's like I saw a meme the other day. He said, I'm out here looking for a short sleeve coat. Yo, I almost passed out. I was laughing so hard when I saw it.
No, I know this is straight off, and that got nothing to do with motivation. Funny what we said, but we always like to mention when we see funny ass memes. Funniest shit I see today, like somebody put a post up and said, God damn, 5 guys is too expensive. He said, can somebody open up like a few niggas in them or something? You know what I tell you? That's a funny fucking meme. 5 guys is too expensive. I need somebody to open up a few niggas in there. Can anybody? Anyway, fucking hilarious meme I saw it today. But no, I mean, I just thought about that because it came to me watching the dog, and I was like, you know what? Because even me, right, certain things. I remember a long time ago in an interview with a psychic who was trying to tell, it was telling you about yourself, and the bitch was dead on, but she was harping on one of the things that stood out, that the one thing that I wasn't paying attention to, I would say, is she was like, yo, you can do better. You got to do better with the procrastination shit. I'm like, procrastination? Bitch, you got me fucked up. We always in the defense mode. Fuck out of here. Who brought this picture? So, but I ain't saying shit. I'm listening because she's going on and on. But I'm thinking about it. I'm like, and she was like expounding on and shit like that. And I'm like, well, this bitch is right. So ever since then, that was dumb years ago. Ever since then, I inserted a third eye to talk to myself and catch me when I can catch me procrastinate some shit or putting it off, right? So I'll be like, okay, you gotta do better at that. You gotta do better at that. I've been doing, 50%. It's a work in progress, still a work in progress. But what you notice is during the weather, the flip of the weather, I do it less or more.
Yes.
So
yes.
Why is that not fascinating? That depression can come for a lot of people right now, especially with the climate being broken up and changed the way it is. When, like you just said it, some people when it rains, they don't want to do nothing, or they're sad, or they're depressed. Or I know people that can't do shit when it rains. I'm not going to a concert. They'll make all the plans in the world, but just a little rain, I'm good. The fuck are you scared of? Anyway, for that little bit of mood changing swings for people, snow, rain, too hot, too cold, then this has a plausible, something to think about. I'm not way off base to think the shit I'm thinking right now. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to throw that out there, splattered on the wall. And because we, at the end of the show, I want to get right to my man Amir with the jewel of the day. Motivation Monday. Let's go.
Hey everybody, this is Amir Sealy, and I'm coming to you live on Motivation Monday with the jewel of the day. Today we talked about a lot of wonderful things, but I just, want everybody to take this into consideration. As I said, we opened the show. It's a new year. It's 2023. It's an opportunity for us to obviously do a lot of wonderful new things for ourselves. I just ask that you guys take a few things and put these feathers in your cap and utilize them where you see necessary. First and foremost, do yourself a favor, reassess anything and everything that you've got going on in your life, make the adjustments necessary to win your championship. You guys hear me say that all the time. I mean that with every bit of my, being, every part of my fiber. Win your championship, whatever that looks like for you. Don't explain it to anybody. Don't justify it or anything like that. You like what you like, you do what you do. It's your life. You are the author. It's your job to write it the way you see fit. It's your job to hire the actors and actresses that you deem necessary for, to get the scenes that you want. But bigger than that is knowing that because you're the author, because you're the director, because you're the visionary, and all of these things, please don't allow somebody else to come in and rewrite your story. Too many of y'all, to a point that we made about depression, to a point that we made about money changing you, what ends up happening is you allow somebody else to come in and rewrite your story. Nobody can tell your story like you can. Nobody. They can give semblances of it, give ideologies about it, give moments that things might have happened, but nobody can write and or tell your story like you. So do yourself a favor, write your story, tell your story the way that you want it to be told. Because if you leave it up to others, boy, fiction becomes such a fact in a heartbeat that before you know it, you got people looking at you sideways, and there's even people that you know and love. When did you, and how did you, what? So don't let anybody write your story. Write your own story, be the author, be the director, and more importantly, tell your story so that this way you can put in all the funny parts you want to put in all the odd things you want to put in, whatever it is you want to put in. It's your job. Do that. I promise you, you'll have a great life. And in particular, you'll have a wonderful year, because every day is an opportunity to write a new story. So keep those chapters coming. We're here to read and watch and enjoy. I love you. Let's do it. It's 2023, y'all. Let's get it.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why they call him the Jewel Dropper. Because he's the man with the jewel of the day, aka the jewel of the week. We ain't scared of you. We love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. You heard the man. This has been Motivation Monday. Again, we always apologize when we go a few minutes over, but some things need to be said. All right, so hopefully you took a couple of those jewels. We splattered on the wall, people. You go home, you do your own due diligence and homework, self-assessing, do what you got to do. Remember, the key things we touched on today, the weekend can be everything for your week. It depends on you readjusting and realigning it so that it's not just the end of your week, but it is actually the jump starter of the week to come. So where you place the energy and the priority. Also, paying attention to your love life, your financial life, and your depression life. Does money plus love equal depression, equal stress? What's the culprit? Does money compromise love, or does love overthrow money? Who knows? Everybody's situation is different. Again, do the due diligence, look for yourself. And speaking of depression, hey, check the weather. maybe because some people be like, yeah, I've heard people say, I don't know why I'm so down. I don't know why I feel, but I'm depressed or whatever. Most manic depressions, they don't really know per se why they're depressed. They just know that they go into those funks. It's uncontrollable, and sometimes they find themselves too deep. We already know the end result. So it could be the weather. It could be because ain't nothing right these days. So it could be global warming, could be not. We just don't know. It's so many unanswered things in this universe. You're never going to know all the answers, but if you do some homework, I guarantee you grab some of them. All right, this
Yes.
has been a Motivation Monday. Our man's back on the East Coast. Amir, welcome home, brother.
Yes,
Hopefully
sir.
I'll see you Thursday night. We're in Harlem at the Crab Queen's new restaurant on 25th and Lenox Avenue, right in that little Whole Foods mall right upstairs. Beautiful place, black owned. Couple of sisters got it. And we moved out Thursday night, released the Tension Comedy Show for this. So hope to see some people out there. Do what you got to do. Harlem World this Thursday and every Thursday. Stand up. We love y'all. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Amir, chop it up, baby. Chop it up.
Hey, chop
Peace.
it up. Peace.
It's Monday, cocksuckers, and you better come prepared because they don't fuck around on Monday. Monday, most people come in, I had such a great weekend. Oh my God, go fuck yourself. That was then, this is now, bitch. It's a whole new set of rules. It's Monday. And you ain't waking up with a taste of blood in your fucking mouth like a shark 5 feet from the shore. You fucked up, you understand? Because Monday is when you go everything else in life. Still, the weekend, you fucking go.